Today I'm going to be taking a look at Netflix's Hoops for the very first time. Now, in all honesty, I have never heard anything even remotely good about this show. It's basically like a senile, dementia-ridden old man walking up to me and being like, "Oh, I remember Hoops. It was the worst experience of my life. But can you watch it, please? Can you bless me with a little bit of a viewing experience so I can laugh?" That's pretty much how it goes every single time. I've never seen a single Hoops fan in my comments being like, "Man, this show, it didn't once deserve to be canceled. I need you to take a look at it and prove everybody wrong and say it's glimmering and glamorous and it's a great show." Never heard anything like that, so I'm kind of expecting the worst here. But on this journey to find the worst animated show of all time, I've seen some pretty heinous stuff, so how bad could it be? And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload every single day. You don't want to miss it. If you want to talk about games, movies, and shows with like-minded people, Discord in the description. And if you want bonus content, stuff that I just can't upload here on YouTube, my Patreon will also be in the description. Now let's finally take a look at Hoops. This show is actually so unbelievably bad. Taking a look at episode 1, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if the writers for the show were giving each other back shots inside of a sewage drain, and midnight struck. They had to submit something. They had to do something. They wasted all of their time just backshotting the night away, and all of a sudden, one of them picks up some feces, slams it on a piece of paper, sends it in, and the Netflix executive is like, "Oh dear, this is exquisite. Oh, get the animators on this right now. This is brilliant." Like, I can't believe anybody would sit here and read this script and think it's funny, or watch it all the way animated and still want this to actually be a show. It is just unbelievably baffling. The main character, Coach Ben Hopkins, is one of the most unlikable characters that I've seen in a very long time. There is no saving grace about him. He is racist. He does a horrible, horrible crime that is basically the equivalent of if Joe Swanson walked in on Peter Griffin with a 14-year-old and there was no joke. Peter was just railing that 14-year-old. "Hey, Peter, are you, with a minor? Nice job." Like, that's it, and you as the viewer just has to sit there and just be in shock and awe that this is happening because there's no joke, there's no punchline. It's just genuinely what is happening. Or if you want a different example to understand the pain and suffering I'm going through while watching this because it's just so weird, what if Kratos was like, "Boy, you see Freya over there, the god? Yep. She's gonna make you a man tonight, boy, and I'm going to watch." That's basically the equivalent of what happens in this episode, and it's so unbelievably weird, and there's no saving grace for the character. Like, Coach Ben Hopkins, I'm supposed to have pity for him, I'm supposed to feel bad for him in some kind of way, I'm supposed to find him funny. It doesn't check either of those boxes, so he's just overall a very shit character in every way. The episode even opens with them just playing basketball. He's a basketball coach. That's the entire premise of the show. And one of his players gets a foul, and he walks up to the black referee and starts calling him a inbred pile of donkey shit.
"That's a charge."
You inbred pile of donkey shit.
What did you say?
Okay, and then he just starts raging and lashing out, and it's basically, "Swearing is so funny, Dad. Oh my God, the coach did. He started swearing and cursing people out and saying weird stuff like, 'Hey, Dad, I hope you shove a hamster up your ass and it gets off of the string and it's stuck inside of your ass, Dad.'" Yeah, and then he just starts rambling about how he hopes the hamster eats the innards of his ass for a very, very long time.
Off the string, and now you're standing there with a piece of string, but the hamster's eating away at the inside of your asshole.
And that's what's supposed to get me going. That's what's supposed to turn my wheel and get me just releasing a big old belly laugh. Just, "A hamster inside of an ass cheek." Man, that reminds me of Lemmy Winks in South Park, but that shit was actually funny. This is just so unbelievably awful. So, yeah. At the beginning of the episode, I'm already established to hate this character. There's just nothing going for it. He then has a big speech, which I guess is supposed to give you a little bit of pity for this guy, where he's like, oh, guys, you're supposed to believe in me. I care about you guys. I care about the sport. I blow my fuse a little bit. Nobody gives a shit, bro. Nobody cares when you're the most unlikable person that I've ever seen in fiction. Like, it's so bad. And then they just decide that, oh man, this scene doesn't have enough jive to it. Let's make a random gay joke that doesn't doesn't even remotely do anything. The kids are all looking at porn sites because the coach says that it's okay, but there's one kid that's gay, so everybody just starts chanting, bullshit, 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 we need gay, gay. And I don't know, it was the most like forced gay joke I've ever seen in my entire life. There was no need for it. I don't know why it had to happen. Like, it genuinely felt like, oh man, the scene where the coach isn't like feeling good about himself doesn't have enough comedy in it. What if we make one of the kids gay and have everybody chant that this kid needs to watch gay porn? Yes, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. It's just so unbelievably laughable what they're trying to do in this show. I can't even fathom that they don't know what they're doing with the writing, in a sense that when you have a character that is so unlikable like this, you're supposed to make him funny, make him interesting. They just made a giant raging baby man. It's the equivalent of watching, I don't know, Jack Doherty. Like, if he came to your house and started, like, I don't know, like crying like a little baby, are you supposed to give him pity, or are you gonna start kicking him? You're gonna start kicking him. That's just what you're gonna do. That's basically what this character is. So we then have a little something to establish our love and our care for good old Coach Ben Hopkins. Okay, good old Coach Ben Hopkins. He's having a meeting with the principal, and this is one of the worst conversations I've ever had, because it just feels like, oh man, we really need to stretch this 15-second conversation that establishes the entire plot of the episode into a solid 2 minutes. It is just a waste of time. Your brain is rotting away. Ben Hopkins, he's talking to the principal about potentially getting this one kid named Maddie to play on the team because he's really tall and they need him to play if they want to win. And then they just start having this argument about, oh, that sounds like a BB problem, not a BP problem. You know, that ain't my problem. That's not my problem. This is actually what's happening, by the way. I'm not just like doing this. Like, they're just sitting there arguing, saying that, oh man, this sounds like a do your job kind of problem, coach. And the coach is like, oh, but you need to help me, please. I don't know what I'm doing. And that goes on for a solid 2 minutes. And that was just really awful. But then it just gets so much worse because he goes outside, he's talking to Maddie, and, you know, I was thinking, okay, well, Ben Hopkins, he's a rage little baby, just like Jack Doherty. He's just acting like him in his prime. He'd be the equivalent of if Jake Paul and Jack Doherty started making out and all of a sudden a little fetus fell out, and you're just like, wow, that's such an ugly looking shit baby. Nobody wants to care for that. That is literally what this character is. And then he just gets to heinous levels of awful because he's talking to Maddie, and, God, it's just so weird. I don't care if it's a dude. I wouldn't care if it's a girl. It's just such a weird conversation to have with a kid. He's begging Maddie to play, and then all of a sudden, he starts getting on the topic of, come on, Maddie, I know you're 16, but you want your dick sucked. Yes, there's nothing more that a little boy, a 16-year-old boy wants than a 40-year-old high school teacher to walk up to him and say, you want to play for me, don't ya? But you know what you want more than that? You want your dick sucked. Like, it's just so unbelievably weird.
Don't tell me sex isn't the only thing you think about, because I know you'd be lying. Look, if you penetrate a woman before Saturday, will you play in the game?
And he's like, come on, if I could get a woman to put it out for you, like a little platter, and you could penetrate it, then would you play for me, Maddie? He doesn't even wait for an answer. He just leaves, and this little boy is left wondering what's going on. Like, I don't give a shit what you think if there's age of consent or not. That guy is 16, and I guarantee you that the coach is going to find a 40-year-old woman, and that 40-year-old woman has to be okay not only sleeping with a teenager, but breaking multiple laws, and it's just outright disgusting. What is this? Are we talking politics here? I feel like we're talking politics all of a sudden, because all of a sudden, their focus is on kids. It's just so unbelievably weird, man. It just doesn't make him likable at all. So we then cut to Coach Hopkins in the classroom, and this is supposed to be another scene that is supposed to establish him as kind of like oh, I feel bad for this guy in a way. He's such an awful character. Like, oh, look what's going on in his life. It's supposed to establish him and kind of be a funny scene, but because of everything he's done so far, be a racist rage baby prick, offer a child sex, and now talk about stalking his ex-wife and trying to steal his ex-wife from the boyfriend, It's just all very weird because in this scene, he's like, I'm so glad you came over. I forget his friend's name, but he's like, oh, I'm so glad you came over, guy who was having sex with my wife. And he's like, well, actually, it's your ex-wife. We've been dating for a very long time now. You guys have been divorced for a while now. And you think you need to lay off a little bit. And he's like, oh, what am I supposed to do when I'm up late on sleeping pills, huh? Not text my wife, my own wife?
Listen, Shannon's my wife. I can text her whenever I want.
No, Shannon's your ex-wife.
And the entire joke there is that he's so delusional that he doesn't understand that it's his ex-wife, so he keeps calling her his wife because he's a delusioned man, baby. And I'm just not a very big fan of that joke as a whole. That's literally the entire joke. He's up on sleeping pills. He's harassing his ex-wife who wants nothing to do with him, and he's bringing the guy who is dating his ex-wife over, who is trying to talk to him about texting her at 3 a.m., and turning it into a situation where he needs his help. It's just so weird. And then the entire follow-up joke is that the entire classroom is actually full of students and they're all listening to this conversation. And then, of course, I'm supposed to just be enthralled with this character even more and want to keep watching the show when he takes a look at this entire class and he's like, all right, ladies, who wants to have sex with a 7-foot man? He's 16. I'm offering it. Come on. What else do you want to do with your life? And they all say no because, I don't know, any 40-year-old man who walks up to me and tells me to go have sex with a young boy and is offering money, that doesn't sound quite right, does it? It sounds very fucking weird, and I don't like this character. I don't know how many times I have to reiterate that. It is just so weird that, for one, they're leaning so heavily into this joke that it's the entire plot of the episode, and that somebody in that writer's room actually thinks this is funny? I don't see the comedy there. What's the comedy? Oh, yes, yes, pedophilia. Let's extort this young boy to get him to play basketball with young vagina. And of course, that doesn't work very well. So now he decides that he's going to go and find a hooker for him. Of course, man, we couldn't get him a girl his own age. Let's just get a 40-year-old chlamydia-ridden hag to do it for you. And he's having this conversation with her. They're talking about it, and she doesn't want to do it. She even offers a blow for less money. And I'm just thinking, really? Are we going to go down that route? Are we going to go down that route, hag? Are we going to really do that? I guarantee you the inside of your mouth is basically the equivalent of a Komodo dragon. If it touches anything, they're still gonna die. They're still gonna have a disease. It's just ridden with diseases. It's just bad. So now the 16-year-old boy has the option to do the dirty nasty with a 40-year-old woman if Coach Hopkins can come up with $500, which just doesn't make me feel better about any of these situations. I don't care. Like, it's just getting worse and worse as the episode progresses. So then Coach Hopkins goes to see his father, his good old daddy. And again, the comedy is just completely lackluster here. He starts screaming at his dad that he was inside of his balls. He came from his balls. So he has to give him money. He needs money. He needs lots of money. And his dad is just kind of being an asshole, which I guess is supposed to gather and garner sympathy for Coach, but I just don't see the appeal. I genuinely think when you have a character that is this unlikable, you have to give them something to cling on to, like them being funny, like some actual genuine sympathy. But when a character does so many bad things in his first episode, things that are clearly irredeemable, and he's not even fucking funny, I don't want to watch him anymore. I don't care about him. And so far, that is the show's biggest fault, other than the atrocious writing that doesn't have a single funny joke being laid out. But either way, it is just atrocious to watch this character. His dad, of course, says no, so he has to try and find a different way to get some money. He goes to his ex-wife, and I actually liked his ex-wife a lot because she was just basically saying everything you need to say, you know, like, oh God, what are you doing here? Oh no, you come back with your little tiny pecker, your little tiny cock. Oh no, I'm not gonna give you any money. Oh no. Yep. Which I was very glad about that. I felt good. I wish this guy was more of a punching bag. Like, I wish, like, he got beat. Like that's the type of character he is. Like, I would rather watch this guy get beat, or like, you know, those pred catcher videos where people are doing it themselves, and like it's two of them, and one of them throws like the guy who's there to meet a kid up in the air and like punches him like a combo. Like, that's what I want to see happen to this guy. That's really, genuinely what I want to happen to him, because he's just such a unlikable character. It's crazy what he's doing here. So he eventually has all of his children, yes, all of his students, be willing to give him money so that he is able to pay this hooker to do it down and dirty with the young 16-year-old man. He does get enough money. He goes to pay the hooker, and he's like rethinking his life. He's like, oh, how did my life get here? Oh no, oh gosh, how did I let this happen? Oh god. But he's driving the hooker to the house, and he knocks on the door, and Maddie, he answers it. And he starts talking about how he has a small penis. Not Maddie, Coach, like, is literally talking in third person. He's like, yeah, well, Ben Hopkins was born with a small little inkling of a cock, and my dad was born with a Monty Python. Like, why are you saying this in front of a 16-year-old? Is this not weird to anybody? I know some of you probably had, like, fathers or something, or random people who would come up to you and just be like, hey, yeah, bro, you lying to anything anyway. But this is, like, weird, because Maddie is clearly uncomfortable with this, uncomfortable with the fact that he brought a 40-year-old woman to his house. He's clearly like saying like, oh, Coach, you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to do this. This is kind of weird. And thankfully, the hooker gets arrested, and so does Coach. And I hate that Coach even got out on bail. Does anybody else think that bail is a really stupid concept? Like, oh man, I did this horrible, atrocious crime, and like something that's clearly obvious they did it. Oh, let's just give you $2,000 and you could be back on the street so you could go and do it again. Either way, he gets bailed out. And again, their beautiful way of trying to force comedy down my throat is Coach getting out after he just almost had a entire pedophile scenario be curated to his own liking just so that he could get a uncomfortable 16-year-old kid to play basketball for him. He is all like, oh man, I'm so glad that nobody went inside of my ass in there. Oh yes, man, I really lucked out in there. That's a knee slapper right there.
The lowest I've been since that time, nobody tried to butt-fuck me in prison a couple hours ago.
The writers really knew what they were doing with that scene. Hot dog. Hot dog is right. Ooh, man. Nothing like watching a guy try to make a pedophile situation happen, and then all of a sudden he's like, ooh, hot dog. Nobody got in my ass. Yippee. Yay. I kind of wish somebody did. I wish that the booty warrior was in there and is like, I like you and I want you. The choice is yours. Like, that would have been so much more enjoyable than this slop. I really don't get it. So he goes to end the episode. He goes and buys a nice suit for his final day as coach. He goes there, and Maddie has decided to play basketball, which is so stupid. Like, I feel like the show is missing a clear big picture that they made the character so unlikable that you should have him suffer. Have a really stupid way that he gets to keep being coached. Like, they bring in a brand new coach, and all of a sudden, I don't know, he gets crushed by 100 basketballs or something stupid like that. Like, don't just give him his job back because Maddie decides to play. Why would you decide to play Maddie? Maddie walks over and he's all like, oh yeah, coach, honestly, like, nobody ever wanted me, and because you want me, because you were willing to like almost commit a major crime that is just outright disgusting, you wanted me, so I'll play. Which is just so dumb. Like, you can't have a character that's this unlikable get the wins. And then the coach, like, at the beginning of the game, Maddie gets the tip-off for basketball. He knocks it to their team, and he just starts ranting and wilding about how amazing that is and how they deserve the tip-off and how, oh, wow, we really did it. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. He starts twerking everywhere. And this is one of the worst experiences I've ever had viewing something. I genuinely can't believe how awful this show is. It's one thing for me to watch a show like Brickleberry, Paradise PD, or Farzar, which are some of the worst shows that I've ever seen, but at least they like knew what they were doing. They knew what they wanted to do with the characters, and there were certain characters that you could at least root for in some kind of way. Here, there is just none of that. There is no reason to care about the main character in any kind of way. There's nothing that makes you want to watch an episode 2. The ultimate concept of the show is just awful, especially when it's a basketball show, and every time there's going to be some basketball playing, the coach just starts geeking and tweaking and starts screaming, which isn't even funny, because again, all of the lines that he says is just, oh, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. It's just swearing is funny comedy, and it's so bad, man. It's so awful to watch. Oh, wow. If I was to rate this one 1 through 10, I would probably give it a solid 1 out of 10. That is one of the worst viewing experiences I've ever had. Now, taking a look at episode 2 of Hoops, there were 2 whole scenes within this episode that I actually did enjoy, so I could at least say that it's a little bit better than episode 1, not by much. The beginning of it, I actually did enjoy. I thought this was kind of funny, and I think it could be a really cool concept to tackle. Oh man, I want to be a basketball coach, but I'm fucking shit at basketball, and then he has to go in like a redemption story and actually get good so that he can make something as simple as a layup or something. That could have been fun, because Coach Hopkins, he's sitting there, and he's like, guys, if you want to be good at basketball, you can't end on a miss. And so he starts like just, throwing the basketball, trying to make it in the hoop over and over and over again. And then he eventually even has to like lower the hoop so that he could dunk, and he misses the dunk. And I thought that was good, like physical comedy. I thought that was good. And the fact that he just walks off and leaves after, that was good.
Well, hopefully you got what I was trying to say.
That was great. That's what this show could have been. But then they just make it so unbelievably weird after that, with Coach driving to his ex-wife's house, because of course he does, and he sees a man clinking a wine glass, and it can't be the dude that's actually banging his wife. God, that's such a weird sentence. His ex-wife, I need to clarify that. Because he's getting painted naked at a thing. Yeah, that's a whole big part of the episode. I don't really care about it. So he's wondering who could possibly be with his ex-wife. So he wants to figure out who is, canoodling with his wife, his ex-wife, and his friend's girlfriend. It's all very convoluted the way that they phrase it. I'm not really a big fan of that. So he tells the friend, and they decide that they're going to go and try and stop her. He has this entire conversation with the principal about what this could possibly mean and what it means to pursue. And then they decide to lean into this entire concept of an astronaut woman who got cheated on, a third wheel thing. I don't know. And she was driving 900 miles in a diaper and was shitting herself violently. Yeah. Does that make no sense in the context of what I was talking about? Because that's just genuinely what happens. They're talking about how Coach Hopkins is worried about being the third wheel of this triangle, and then all of a sudden they start talking about an astronaut lady with a diaper on who was running from police and pooped to the diaper. Yep. Pretty cool writing we got going on. So they hire a private investigator who comes back and learns that Shannon, that's the ex-wife's name, has an appointment with D. Who could that possibly be? Who is the D? So they eventually go up to the house, they knock on the door, and it's apparently Coach Hopkins' father, and he's like, you're sexing my wife! Oh! And he's not actually doing that. It's apparently Shannon views him as a father figure. So they're just talking it up, having a good time, and that's great. We then cut to our side plot for the episode, which did have one scene that I liked, but to get there, whew, man, you gotta suffer to enjoy things, I guess. You gotta just really go through the motions, because initially all the kids, I don't know what you guys did when you were teenagers, what debaucheries you got up to. I got up to many debaucheries, but I can tell you one thing. I never soaked a tampon in vodka and shoved it up my own ass. How many people have done that? I don't know. I've never heard of such a thing, but there's nothing like watching 14-year-old fucking dudes just be all like, Dad, I shove a tampon up my ass. And then they all start doing it, and they don't actually soak it in vodka, so they're just sticking it up there. And that's the side plot so far. Thrilling, nothing better. I have a lot of questions about the writers and the animators and what they're okay with, drawing. It's a little bit weird, just saying. So, then, apparently, Coach Hopkins finds out that Shannon and his father are going to go to this wedding, so he wants to go to that wedding to invade it and make sure that they don't form any close bonds. At the same time, with our side plot, Maddie, they want to go to his house because they're trying to, like, form a bond with him, and it's actually kind of cool because they go downstairs and he has an entire gambling room, which is kind of awesome. So they all start drinking because, of course, there's liquor down there, and I thought it was that they, like, sing a little song about underage drinking, boys drinking alcohol, which was kind of funny. I did like that. That's the only other scene in the episode that I liked. That was fun.
Drinking too much, and they're underage, barfing on the toilet.
We then cut to the wedding, and Coach Hopkins is talking to his father, and the thrilling comedy that they decided to land on here was the reason that he wasn't invited to the wedding was because the last time he was at a wedding, he unveiled a lot of secrets about what he used to do with his cousin, which involved kissing his cousin and also sucking his cousin's boob.
It was your first kiss! It was a French kiss. His were the first titties I ever sucked, too.
And his cousin is a man, by the way, so I don't know why he had to lead in with that. He was like, yeah, I sucked my first cousin's boobs, which is very weird. So now not only is Coach Hopkins okay with pedophilia, he is also, you know, okay with incest. So wow, I'm really supposed to root for this character now. Hoorah! That's what I be saying about good old Coach Hopkins. And Coach Hopkins now has a senile old man that he's just dragging around that he thinks is Shannon's father that he wants to use to make jealous for Shannon and his father. And it's apparently just a senile old man that he just picked up and found and he has no correlation with. So he's just dragging his body around, smooching this old man, which is great. And then all of a sudden, the senile old man, he dies. He dies, and Coach Hopkins grabs his body and throws it into the table and runs away.
Dead! Oh my fuck, I touched a fucking dead guy. Disgusting.
And that's pretty much the entire episode. And yeah, I've never really felt like I've wasted my life in such a way. Like, these are minutes that I'll never get back watching this show. There's really nothing good about it. The best parts of it was a physical gag about missing a basketball shot and underage boys drinking because it had a funny song behind it. Everything else is just a unbelievable amount of slop, not worth your time. I cannot preface to you even more than I already have it anyway to not watch this show. There is no saving grace. It's not so bad that it's kind of funny. It's just flat out awful. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would also give it a 1 out of 10. Slightly better than the first episode I watched, but not enough to give it a 2 rating, that's for sure. I can completely understand why Hoops would be canceled. There's just no saving grace. I know I've said that probably like 5 times in this video, but it's just genuinely true. The characters all suck. The world is boring to the point where a character will pull out a weed pen and smoke it and be like, pineapple delight. And that's how you end the scene. That's supposed to be the big, like, joke to end it all. It's just so boring. It doesn't do anything intelligent, and the writing is just completely and utterly abysmal. I haven't watched a show like this in a while where every single joke couldn't even get a smile out of me. Couldn't even get me to think, wow, that was really stupid, that it was kind of funny. I can't believe anybody would even think of that. It is just the worst form of comedy. It's when you go to a bowling alley and there's comedians there and they're all just saying the biggest slop jokes you could ever hear. It's all stuff that nobody would ever pay for, but hey, they're at a bowling alley, so they might as well just, you know, say whatever they want because there's nothing good gonna be said. It's just awful. And I just, please don't watch it. Please don't watch it. It's honestly a very hard show to even talk about because it's so bad. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.